ಹ್ಮ್
ಒಂದು ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇದೆ.
ಹ್ಮ್
ಓಕೆನಾ?
ಹ್ಮ್
ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅಮ್ಮ ಮಗಳು ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದು ಈ ರಾಶಿ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ,
ಹ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಮ್
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಇದೆ. ಇಲ್ಲ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಇದಾವೆ ಬರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ,
ಹ್ಮ್ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಹ್ಮ್
ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಈ ಜಾಸ್ತಿನ
ಹ್ಮ್
ಕೋರ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದು ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ಗೆ
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಹ್ಮ್
ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ
ಹ್ಮ್
ಬಟ್ ಆಲೋ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಎನ್ಸೆಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಯಾವ್ದು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲ.
ಹ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಮ್
ಮತ್ತೆ ಕೇಳಿ ನೋಡಿ
ಶೇರ್ ಸೈಮಲ್ಟೇನಿಯಸ್. ಹ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಮ್
ಮತ್ತೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್
ಹಾ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್, ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಹ್ಮ್
ಓಕೆನಾ?
ಓಕೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಕೋ-ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ ಅಲ್ವಾ?
ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು. ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿಪಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೆಂಟ್ಗೆ.
ಹಾ ಓಕೆ.
ಎರಡು ಆಪ್ಷನ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ 5 ನಂತರ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
ಹಾ ಹಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್. ಹಾ ಇಲ್ಲ 2 o'clock ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. 2 o'clock ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Hari Lakshmi ma'am. I think the students are connecting. Maybe we will wait for a few more minutes. Please let me know when do you want me to start the session.
Okay, sir. Almost 7 students are there. Wait for 2 more minutes, sir.
Sure, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm seeing still the number of students is quite less. If you can request them to join the call.
Okay, sir. Call the connected people and call. Tell them.
Maybe the students who have not introduced in the previous sessions, maybe you can just introduce yourself, tell me about yourself and what is your passion before the others joins in. So any volunteer who has not introduced in the previous sessions? Hello, Shaurav. You want to introduce yourself? If you have not introduced yourself in the previous session before the others joins in, still people are joining. Hello, Saurabh. So good afternoon, everybody. Sweta and Harilakshmi ma'am, please let me know when to start. Maybe wait for another couple of minutes for others to join in.
We'll wait for 3-4
Yeah, we'll
minutes, sir. I have already informed the concerned person from the college.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, sir. You can start the class. I think
Sure.
students are joining.
Yeah. So
They'll be joining within 5 minutes. They'll join. You can start,
Sure.
sir. It's already 7 minutes.
Okay. So very good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon. So I will request if you can switch on your cameras, then of course we are not meeting in person, but at least if, we can see each other. And I want to make this class very, very interesting, right? So first of all, we will start with some case studies and around the world, what is happening, right? On the artificial intelligence and also the IoT, so that you can get an idea why these are the very, very important thing for you and how the future can bring some good benefits, and also the scope that is available is enormous. Okay. Okay, so let me share my screen and we will go forward on this. Okay, let me share my screen. And I will, let me know once you're able to see my screen. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you remember, we were, I think a lot of people are joining. So let me admit them. So we were discussing and talking about the industrial applications. And in fact, as I told you, India, as you know, one of our most important part of our GDP is agriculture. So how in agriculture, using the technology, we can reap benefit? I will give some examples. And one of the example here is that there are in agriculture, IoT use has increased a lot, and we see a lot of scope for that, right? So what we see is that it can collect your information about the temperature, it can collect about the rainfall, humidity, the wind speed. Now, with the help of that, you can also check the what is the soil content, what are the minerals are there, and based on that, you can apply fertilizers, or you can apply pesticides depending upon the crop you are growing and kind of pest that is around that area, right? So using those technology, we can increase the productivity and also have a quality crop, which will fetch the farmers good amount of money, and also those into the agricultural business or agro industries that can provide a lot of benefits. Right. So now we have discussed this in the last session. So I'm just want to take it forward on this, and we move on to the one of the next case study. I think a lot of people are joining, and the smart irrigation that we mentioned about the. Yeah. Any question? Hello. Any question? Okay. Now we have seen using the smart irrigation was IoT in the irrigation and agricultural in a farm in Italy, where the kiwi is being grown. They have collected the data using the sensors and other information regarding, and also using the cameras, right, to check what are the condition available, also the quality of the fruit and the size of the fruit, because if you see the kiwis generally comes in a proper size, and also that depending upon the quality and the size, it fetches price, right? So using the technology, they can measure the size of the fruit, and also the whether the fruit is the right time to pick it or not, they can do that. Next is that to give water to the soil depending upon the whether there is how much is the content of the water in the soil, or what is the level of water, groundwater level, and also whether there is a rain forecast. Based on that, you can do the watering also, and all those things helps you with the resources that is available with you, that using the minimum of that and get the maximum benefit. So this is the farm that is Famosa, which is an Italian company that works on this technology, which we have told you, and which they have used for the crop monitoring and management, right? And which helps into to get them the good price for the product, because as you can see, they have got the sensors, which helps them to have the similar size of kiwis when they're picked, and that also provide them the good price. So this is what we have already taken you through in the last session. And any question before I move on to the next case study? Okay, if there is no question, I move on to the next case study. This is how that has been done, and which I have already told you in the last session, right? Now, coming to the next case study is basically in Greece. That is a city called Patras, where it is kind of a smart city where what we see is that, in fact, it is the third largest city in Greece, and it's the capital of the Western Greece, where they are using dedicated smart cities using the IoT. And what they're doing is that they are having smart parking and smart lighting they're using for the benefit of the people. And we will see how this IoT is playing an important role with the AI, and which is helping not only the people, also the city administration. Regarding the smart parking, as you can see, what is done when there, as you know, if you come in Bangalore also, if you go to some of the areas, you find that the parking spaces are quite limited, right? So if you find that what is happening, then you are not able to park your cars. And if you park in a wrong area, what will happen? The police will come and take your car to the police station, and you have to give a hefty fine. Now, if you have got the sensors, and if it's let you know where are the parking available, or if you go to the mall also, if you go to the Forum Mall or any mall, you will see it is multi-level parking is there, and based on where there is a parking space, you can find it out from the screen, and you can go and park your car. Similarly, if you have got a facility based on which you see, for if you go to the Brigade Road, or if you go to the commercial street, and you know whether there is a parking or not, and based on that, and where the parking is available, you can park your car. So this kind of functionality or facility will help the people who are coming in a car, and also the administration will give them the revenue. So that, and another most important thing is that you know whether if the parking is available there, go and park your car. Hello, anybody want to say something? Hello? Hello, student, anybody want to say something?
So, while logging in, their audio was on, sir.
Okay, okay. Now, if you have any question, please let me know.
Sure.
So how this is done, using basically the IoT, the sensors, they can find it out whether the space is empty or not. And then, of course, using the status can be communicated to the IoT radio access network linked to the telecom operator. Here in this case, it is the Dutch telecom. Like if it is in India, it can be Airtel, it can be Jio, it can be Vodafone, right? So depending on that, you can communicate to your network, and you can basically populate that in kind of a screen or in a monitor, and the people can come to know, right? So the parking data then collected by the local operators, right, or partner, and that provides the kind of an app, whether or you can put into the app who are coming to the nearby and check whether there is parking available or not, and based on that they can come to the area, park their car, or they can park it somewhere else, and they can walk into the place. So they can also save time, and also depending on that, those maybe the commercial complexes are there, the shops and other things, they can know that if the parking is available, people will come to their place, park their car, and they can buy products, or any can do the shopping also there, right? So this also helps the drivers to guide where they need to go and park their car. So as you can see, this is a simple benefit that basically provides help to the drivers or to the people who want to go to that area to know exactly where they need to park their car, right? Any question? We move to the another kind of a case study, which is a smart lighting. As you know, resources are limited, right? If you burn your electricity, what will happen? It has got a cost. Now, if you using the IoT, if you find that the sensors that there is no car that is coming in there, you don't have to switch on the light for those streets, which will help you to reduce your consumption of your electricity. Similarly, if any car is coming into that area, the street lights can be switched on so that the driver who's driving in that area, he need to can see that area and can drive safely, right? But whenever in fact, for the night, for a lot of places, no cars or nothing is going. Unnecessary, if you burn your energy, it will be a cost to the city administration. To reduce the cost, what they can do is that they can have sensors where there is no cars coming or there is no activity, they can switch off the lights and that will save energy. So what is done here? Here they use the sensors, like using the lighting controller. They can monitor and they can do basically switch off the lights if there is no activity or there is no car coming. So this is few of the case studies of around the world that is happening. So I just wanted to ask you before I go to the next case study. So can you give me an example from your own knowledge, how you can use the IoT and AI to the benefit of the society? Students, it is open to you. You can switch on your camera and let me know. If you've got any views or if you want to, let me know what is your thoughts. Give me an example. So students, I want it to be more interactive. Please let me know. If you've got any views, I go to another case study.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please tell me.
Now you told that if the car is moving or activity is going on, the light will turn on, right? So what if that car is parked on that roadside where the sensors are checking? So it will show the car is parked there and activity is going, and the street light or the light will be switch on for the whole time, right?
Yeah, so it will, if you switch on the whole night, it will be a waste of energy, right? So when the car passed on, there is no requirement of switching on the lights for the whole area. So it will save energy. So if you go to some of the washrooms also, you will see when you front of the tap, you put your hand, the water comes in. When you remove your hand, the water doesn't come out from that tap, right? So what is happening? So there is no wastage of water, and also it is no touch to this tap. And during the COVID, always we used to wash our hands and this thing, we do not want to touch any metallic bodies. So similarly, these are all based on the IoT technology, right? So it's basically based on the sensors. It activates the water coming out. For example, when you go in the front of the tap and when you remove your hand, there is the sensors checks that is no water need to be done because there is no hand or nothing, no object is there to pour the water. So all this technology helps to conserve your resources because resources is limited, right? Okay. So I want more of interaction from you. Please let me know if you have got any other questions. We can move forward. Again, let me start and sharing my screen. So today, I will walk you through the case studies. I give you some examples. I will give you some trends, mega trends that is happening in AI, IoT, right, and machine learning. And so that you can understand what are the things, what are the around the world, what are the technologies coming up, and based on that, actually, you can work yourself and you can think these are the opportunities that I can come and I need to work on those areas, right? And whichever it feels like, it's basically whatever you want to do, it has to come from passion from yourself and you can excel on that. And as I told you, the sky is not even the limit for all of you and so much of enormous opportunities that are around the world. Let me move on to the next case study. So we have provided you two different case studies in the city of Patras. One is basically the smart parking, another is smart basically lighting. and where you can see that using this technology, you can conserve your energy, you can provide continuity to your people who are staying there, and also you can increase the business because people, if you want to go for shopping, if you have your own car, you need to park that car. So you also know whether any parking is available. And when you're also going to the places of the city, for example, the smart lighting is there so that you get the proper lighting when you go into that area. Right. So this is some of the two IoT experience I provided in the city of Greece. So this is some kind of real-time benefit that is provided by this city, right? So this is all about the information. So it is quite flexible, right? Both parking and the lighting reduces the cost of the building, as I mentioned to you. And also this kind of information using the big data, right? Which can be, the IoT can be interacted with that. And also what happens, it can also captures how many people has come to that place or how many cars that has passed into that area. So a lot of analytics also can come based on that. Also, we can find the behavior of the people. For example, at what time, how many people are coming. Now, if I see in that locality from 6 to 8 p.m., there is a lot of cars. Maybe just give an example, 6:30 to 7, we find 200 cars passing in that road. So we know that if the business want to open their shops, this is the right time to have the shop to be open, or some business can be done, or this is the time maybe there can be a gas station is nearby or a petrol pump, so maximum number of car passes by that, so the frequency maybe 5% of that can come to the filling their gas. So as you can see, using the analytics and the data, they can also give some impetus to the growth of the industry that they're looking at. So again, you can find, for example, from the smart parking. So which is the time you have the parking is full, and which is the time you're parking, you get a lot of availability of parking. So this also features provide the people who want to go for shopping into that area. They can also predict, for example, this is the time I will get the availability of my parking. I can go to the area and I can keep my car. So as you can see, it is one thing relates to another, and using kind of a database that you are going to create, which will really help you to get more information, and those analysis also can help you to get into further impetus to the growth of other industries also, right? So not only saving energy, as you can see, one is related to other, and that is how you can reap the benefit of overall industry or overall services or the business around you. Now I come to in China. Now this is basically a kind of a smart metering, right? So what is happening? They are in China. This company, what it support is that it suppose provide gas pipeline to multiple people, right? So depending upon that is a city called Sizzling water and Sizzling gas. So how using the IoT, they can provide benefit to the customers. Now, using the smart metering, what you can do is that you can basically have the supply your gas or basically the energy to the people, and you don't have to go and collect all the information. Using the information you can capture, and from the centrally you can send bill to all the people, right? Now coming to this, there are for example, if you want to check if any leakage is happening on there or any pilferage is happening on that, for that company also they can find it out, and they can send their people to rectify those also, right? Now what happens is that if you go and do a check on the metering, you have to also send your people to go and collect the data, which unnecessarily will increase the number of cost of the people going there, the traveling cost, the number of people you need to engage. Now, if you have got a smart metering, then of course it can read the data, how much of energy is consumed or how much water is consumed, and from the central place you can just send the bill to the person. So one is that you get the business gets the benefit, that is basically the number of resources that is required to calculate or go there and read those data is not required. And also you can provide, from example, 1st of the month, that is maybe 1st of November to 30th November, what is the amount of consumption has happened, and automatically the bill is getting sent. So you also able to, the company is also able to generate the bills and able to provide the correct data to the end consumer. Also during the flow, as you know, there if any pilferage is happening, it is very easy to know about that, because what happens is that you have got a monthly average, how much is the total energy getting consumed. Now, if there is suddenly there is a increase of the bill that is happening, or if there is between the two areas, if there is suddenly there is inaccurate amount of energy is flowing, or it is getting, the bill is not happening, reduction of the bill, one can do and also investigate and find it out, do an audit, and then as you know, properly they can provide the find out the cause of it, and it can reduce the fraud and the pilferage. Just to let you know, in India, as you know, you will find a lot of pilferage happens with the electricity, and that is why the electricity companies make huge losses. And sometimes the bills has to be on the higher side, because to compensate the amount of loss in the energy due to pilferage, they want to charge it to the end users or end customers. Now, if those can be monitored and they can be reduced, then automatically the bill to the end customers also can be less. So this is just some additional things that one need to understand. And using it is not humanly possible to go and check everywhere where any pilferage is happening, or go into individual houses and read the data. Now, using this kind of a technology, the smart metering, the IoT, it will be easy for the company to generate the bills, check where any pilferage is happening or not, and using that, it can automatically reduce the cost of the and also can reduce the pilferage and charge much better price to the end consumers, right? And of course, the better management of your energy and better management of a system will enable the company to earn profit and have sustainability. As you know, no company in the world will work with if there is no profit. Otherwise, what will happen? It will become bankrupt, right? And if it becomes bankrupt, you can see there will be huge loss of employment of the people who are working on that, and also it affects the country and also the of the region also, because if there is the company go for a liquidation or bankruptcy, the people who are working directly, indirectly will lose their job. The banks who has funded that company will also lose money, and then what will happen? The bank also the NPA or the non-performing assets will increase, and that will create the bank also into a problem. So similarly, as you can see, a cascading effect will be happening around the whole region. So nobody wants to see a company at loss, and so that it will have an enormous effect into the socio economy and also the ecosystem around that place. Any question? Student, any question from your side? So what is happening is Switzerland has got a large fleet of existing gas meters, which are installed in a variety in hard to reach locations, right? This is a actual case studies, such as indoors and underground, meaning the existing communications network have struggled to maintain the connectivity with all meters. Now, this is another problem. What happened? You need, for the sensors, you need to have a proper connectivity, right? So you need to have a proper, what? You need to have network connectivity. You need to have proper mobile network connectivity so that your sensors data reaches to your central place, isn't it? So data transmission has to happen, and only then you can able to monitor better. So this, what happens, this IoT gas meters, the challenges that is facing industry with today's gas meter industry, what they have done, they have a strong signal penetration. So they have worked out also with the IoT, which is able to provide with the mobile operators and get the data transfer into the central hub. From there, they can do much better monitoring. So that is also a case one need to take care. It is not only installing of the IoT, you need to have the connecting of to that IoT with a proper network. Now, as you can see, with the 4G and 5G coming up, the data latency is coming down and the better connectivity is happening. And this all will going to help the operators that are working on this. So China is one of the largest operator of 5G at this moment. And of course, in other countries, it is going up very, very fast. So what are the benefits? The benefits is that you have the reliability of the transmitters. Wherever you have got, for example, underground or places where it's been difficult to send the people, you can have the meters, read it and send it to your central hub, and you can do the billing properly. You can check on the pilferages if they're happening or not. And also you can these are reliable and regularly. So people can have a manual mistakes, but with this systems coming in, it will be a reliable thing that can be done, and it will provide a standardized reading as per the meters, right? And wherever for additional, without any additional backups and infrastructure needed for the outage scenarios will not be required, because when you roll out this IoT water meters or gas meters, whatever those are, those basically are being done with a standardized reporting, so that if any fault is there. Now, as you know, also they are using the AI. You can also predict if there is a failure that can happen. If there is, maybe after 2 years, those parts need to be done. You can do a predictive maintenance also. Or using the sensors. I'll give you another example. Like for example, NTPC, they've got big transformers. It can be in some jungles. It can be into some islands where you cannot send people on a regular basis, right? Using the SCADA, as you know, you can basically monitor those systems, and if required, you only do a predictive maintenance on those. And based on the sensors, whether you can check that if any of the spare parts need to be replaced. Nearby, wherever the service center is there, from there they can send the people and get it rectified. So if it is in very remote places, right, it may take a couple of days also to reach those places. So if there is a breakdown happens and after a couple of days you need to send the people, then it becomes for 2 or 3 days non-operation of those, and that is absolutely a loss to the company, right? So they do not want to have kind of a revenue loss. They do not want to, also the people will on that place will also suffer if the proper energy is not going to them. So I'm just giving some other examples. You can understand why it is very important, and why using IoT, how the people are also getting benefited. So this is kind of in the case study, as you can see, you can have more information, the signal penetration, the open data formats. So this is also really one of the important things that have been taken care by this Chinese company. So any question till now, students?
No, sir.
Hello, sir.
I'm not reading it out for you. Yes, tell me.
Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, tell me.
Okay. So, sir, we all know that the IoT sensors are growing and growing, increasing and increasing. So there will be a chance to leak of the data or issues for privacy, security, like that. Some people are concerned about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. We will walk you through the security and cyber security issues. Of course, I planned some sessions on that. But of course, I will here also regarding today I will try to show you some high level. the cyber security issues, and that is one of the major issues. Now, just to let you know, if you heard, maybe last year it happened, that in Maharashtra there was a major power failure, right? Do you know the reason for that? It is basically due to the hacking. And some hackers went inside and basically hacked the whole system and the grid failed. So there was a major power outage that happened. So of course, so that is why nowadays, if you know, a lot of money is spent on the cybersecurity, and also there are multiple ways this need to be prevented. Now, when I will walk you through what kind of security threat happens, there are multiple ways it can happen. You can able to learn on that. Those will be in the upcoming sessions. So what happened? There are basically called the hackers who are not basically want to damage or this thing. They are called the black hat hackers, or the one who want to work for the company and wanted to check the cyber security, whether everything is okay or not. They are called the white hat hackers, or they are the hackers who try to check basically whether any cybersecurity issues are there or not. And they directly is part of the top management, and they directly provide the information to the top management so that the management can work with the cybersecurity engineers and consultants so that they can make the cybersecurity or the security of that whole product, or here in this case, the company much better, so that the hackers cannot penetrate into the system. Of course, there are multiple ways that can be done, and your question is absolutely right. Due to the sensors connecting to the through the network to the other sensors now, or to the system, they need to be absolutely protected. So, if you see in case of defense, right? That in case of defense, they use kind of a absolutely separate network or this thing, so that nobody able to penetrate the system of the network. They do not use the general system or that frequency what we are using. For them, the whole frequency itself is a different frequency. Now, if you think of a nuclear submarine that is inside the ocean, right? If they pass on the information to the some kind of a center in India, for example, I'm just saying defense to the home. Now, if somebody knows that where that submarine is there, then all the secrets are out. So they always use kind of a frequency or a kind of this thing, which is very confidential and this thing. So those are basically in case of defense they use, but for any corporate and others, they always have got high level of social kind of high cyber security they tend to maintain. Yeah, any question?
Okay, sir, thank you.
Right. So now, as you know, as IoT offers enough bandwidth to support many data formats and protocols, the Sanguine Water Group can use open data formats to ensure that the data integration with this is China Telecom platform or the chain platform that is possible. Now, as that is why if you see the blockchain technology has come and emerged using the that so that it is not easy to penetrate. So the identity theft cannot be done. So the banking area also they're using this blockchain technology. Maybe if some of you are interested, I will also walk you through one day on the blockchain, what are the things happening, the mega trends happening, and how the people are using this blockchain. It is not for only the cryptocurrency, but as you can see, the blockchain is going to get more and more importance because of this theft of data and also the cybersecurity issues. Isn't it, student?
Yeah, sir. Yeah.
So using the agreed data formats or particular formats, right, and other means, using the open data sources can be combined to create a big data analysis so that water consumption can be compared to the weather conditions. So what does it mean? It means that if you have rainfall, right, happening in that area, or if the sometimes if you see some of the apartments, you have got both the Kaveri water flowing to that apartment, and you have got maybe deep well into that, and you can get the water from that. So if you have got the Kaveri water coming, then you don't require basically pumping your water from your deep well. But if you the Kaveri water is some areas maybe it coming twice or thrice in a week, so you require basically the water. If the groundwater comes down very, very low, what do you need to do? The apartment has to buy waters, right? If you're staying in maybe in Sajapur area or some places in Bangalore, you have seen your apartment is buying regularly tanker waters, isn't it, student?
Yes.
Hello, students. Hello, students. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So buying the tanker water means what? You have to pay maintenance, isn't it? Your maintenance cost goes up.
Yeah.
Now, if you can check that the groundwater is already available, right? You can pump the water out. Then you don't have to buy the tanker water. And if your Kaveri water comes on a regular, then you also don't need to buy, because anyway for the Kaveri water you are paying money, isn't it? And based on the amount of water you're consuming, the Kaveri water, they will also charge the water bill, right? Yes, student. Isn't it? So nobody comes and checks. They also use the kind of IoT metering, right? This they also check how much of water your apartment is consuming. Based on that, they will also make the billing. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now I'm coming to a place called in Croatia. So what is happening? As you know, who can you please let me know who are people from Delhi or northern part, NCR? If you can unmute your mic and tell me who are from NCR region. Any student, are you from NCR?
No, sir, they are from BCA first
Okay,
batch.
so nobody from Delhi region.
Huh?
Delhi, NCR means the Delhi. I'm saying anybody from Delhi, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, that is basically Ghaziabad, Faridabad, Delhi, Gurgaon. Anybody from that region? Okay, if you're not there, during winters, you will find the air pollution goes to such a level, it becomes very, very difficult even to breathe. You have seen that in Delhi, they have asked people to use the car numbers also, odd and even, to drive during the that time, right? So people with the odd cars cannot drive every day. Even cars cannot drive every day. So the pollution goes to such a bad level. And during the winters, the fog is so much, even after 2 or 3 feet, you cannot see properly. And of course, you have got a breathing problem, and those are become carcinogenic because a lot of fogs and which people get a lot of issues with their lungs and also the breathing problem. Now, similarly, this is basically in the Croatia, what happening is that air quality and the monitoring of the pollutants, they're able to measure in different parts of the city, right? Whether there is the air quality is poor or anything need to be done. And for that, they have got sensors. Now, anything that is the gases that are emitting from the industries or from the home, right? So if that has got, it's more than the permissible limit, then it is automatically mentioned, and then the administrator of that place need to work on that, and so that it makes it more safer for the people staying in the city. Just to let you know, not even in India, when I went to Beijing in China, right? In fact, my colleague immediately gave me some kind of a mask because it was horrible to go out into the city because due to the pollution level. So in Delhi also is the same case, that due to the pollution of the cars and also burning of the straw from the agricultural fields, those things, the whole air becomes very, very difficult to breathe. And what happens, it also has got directly into your health, and the longevity of the peoples also comes down. So to have proper healthy conditions, you also need to have a proper air to breathe, because without breathing air, you cannot live. So that is most critical, so that if you find that the air pollution in your area is higher, and if there is kind of a IoT or sensor already attached to that, at least if the administrator try to take initiative, that will really help the people who are there. So this is one been installed in Croatia. So just wanted to mention you that using the smart sensors, you have got the dashboards, and it populates what are the quality of the air around it. The aim of this initiative was to develop a new IoT-powered air quality sensor that perform as well as existing sensors to optimize for IoT, meaning that the battery or the solar power in future will allow the sensors to be installed in many more locations while keeping the installation and operating cost low. So using the solar also, what happens is that solar panel, during the energy it can get, you don't require the electricity that need from the grid. This sensors will operate and will try to also check the air quality. So keeping absolutely their resources, that is the energy resources, much less, utilizing from the grid, using the own energy using the solar panels. Right? And of course, in Croatia, that time they were using the 3G, not even 5G, and the Wi-Fi powered sensors, so that using that, they were trying to get the dashboards. Of course, now they're using 4G, and maybe in future, they will start using the 5G. And the most important thing is that this provides a dashboard at a real time and about the sensors, so that you can know at the real time about the air quality in part of the city. And based on that, the system or the city administrator need to work on, so that it provide a healthy environment to all the citizens of that city. Any question till now?
So one doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, if there is 3G connectivity, then how it will happen to the users get the real-time data?
Pardon, can you please repeat? Sorry, your voice was breaking.
Sir, you told now that there is internet is the speed is 3G and they are using Wi-Fi. So they will get the real-time data. What about the data management and like that?
Yes, that's what I told you. In fact, 3G, of course, your latency will be much higher. 4G, it will come down. 5G, it will be much less, minimum. So, of course, the number of people in Croatia in that place is very less, as you know. So, of course, it will take a little bit on the higher time to get the data and to get that your dashboard getting populated, but it won't be that much of time that will be required for that. So since the number of people is less and using the 3G, of course, it takes the time a little more, but see, if it is only 1 minute late, it is not going to hamper much more, right? So with that, at least they will be able to get the information in which part of the city the pollution is more. Okay.
Yeah, got it, sir.
Because in Europe, what happens, you will find the population is very less there. A city with 1 million, that is more than 10 lakhs, you will find very less cities with such. And Croatia, you will find that maybe the city is only maybe 20,000, 30,000 people are staying, or maybe maximum 1 lakh people. Right? So since the number of people in those small cities or this thing is very less, you can able to manage. You cannot do, of course, with 3G in Bangalore. You're absolutely right. But in Europe, those parts of the countries or cities, the number of population per city or the town is very less.
Thank you, sir. I got it.
Okay. Now I want to go to another example. This is basically in Taiwan, Taipei. So what is happening is that the people, as you know, Taiwan itself is a small island, Now, if you go to the cities, and again, these cities means they're huge population. Like if it is a China, India, Taiwan, in this part of the world, cities means huge number of population. So you don't have that kind of an infrastructure for car parking. Those people who has traveled to Singapore, you will know that if you own a car, basically you have to pay a huge amount of for your car parking. You have to pay good amount of money to own that car, running that car. Similarly, in Taiwan, what happens is that the people who are coming out from outside, they want to park their car. They cannot park here and there. Otherwise, they're going to pay a hefty penalty. So what happens, the people in that place, right? So what they, if their car is not there in the car parking, anybody want to say something? You can unmute and let me know your question, please. Hello, students. Okay. If there is no question, now what is happening in those city is that if you have a car parking, for example, in your house, you got a car parking and you've already gone to the, maybe to another town, maybe you've gone to Mysore or you've gone to your office, your car. So maybe from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., you have got your garage empty, right? There is an app where you can mention that this is kind of a, I've got an availability of my car parking available in my garage. So the people who are coming into that locality or this, they know that these are the parking available and they can park their car. Right? So this basically helps what? This is basically a smart car parking. Similarly, this is kind of a, if you, anybody goes for quick ride, anybody has taken quick ride? Students? Hello, students. So for example, you're coming from a person who's staying in Banerjee, coming to Krupanidhi College, right? You're coming maybe in a bike or in a car. If you have got some empty seats, what you can do, you can enroll into quick ride and then you can just put it forward into the app. If anybody want to come into from that area to this area, can basically log in and can say that I'm interested. So this from this area to this area, I want to come. Automatically, what the app does, it will go and check. And after that, what it will do, it will give you a notification that this person is interested to travel with you. And you went to accept, then automatically you don't have to move your travel from here to there, but in between, if you can get a passenger, you drop it. Maybe if you want to go to Krupanidhi, you drop in front of the Krupanidhi and you enter your college. And what happens, you get some extra payment on your travel, which you are traveling alone. Otherwise, you have to pay for your own fuel charges, at least some amount you are getting. So that basically reduce your cost of your ownership of traveling day to day. So these are kind of apps that are available nowadays, and this really helps everybody. The person is going to get a good ride because either car or a bike is going to get, and not for the, it will be much cheaper for you. Also, you're getting some kind of a fees, which will be reducing your cost of your travel. Isn't it, student? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let me see some of the global trends that are happening around the world. Are you interested to see some global trends?
Yes, sir.
So this is, let me show you some global trends that is happening. Okay.
Until recently. Being used both indoors and outdoors will be on the internet, from our fridges and washing machines to our power supply and home security systems. That's why knowledge of networks, data communication, and software will be skills that are needed in pretty much every single industry out there. Manufacturing, construction, and service industries will be on a constant search for new internet-based mechanisms to incorporate into their product in order to gain an edge in the market. The tech geeks will become the ones helping operate our entire environment. The Internet of Things will actually include almost all of the things.
Internet, so helpful.
Number 2, artificial intelligence.
So
Google
IoT,
studies
the
our
most
behavior.
important thing that is going
Facebook
to
learns
come
our
is AI,
preferences.
as per the
We ask
trends,
Siri to
global
find us near places to eat. And we let Amazon guide us through the vast aisles of the digital market. Ever since the machines began acquiring knowledge of their own, they have taken huge leaps towards developing a real, humanly consciousness. Today, we're on the verge of an era where we will move around in self-driving cars, work alongside robots, and read books or listen to music that was created by a machine. Some of us are actually doing some of these things already.
Alexa, can you pour me a cup of water? Watch.
The field of artificial intelligence in the coming decades will become one of the most vibrant arenas for endless experimentation. Also, as everything becomes connected thanks to the Internet of Things, more and more data related to our behavior will be collected, and the machines will have infinitely more material to learn from. Don't forget that artificial intelligence is not only a field that is exclusive to the computer scientists. We're talking about creating brains like ours, and potentially ones that will even be way more powerful than ours. They will live with, talk to,
Sophia,
and
right?
affect us. That makes the field as much a field of interest for computer scientists as it is for psychologists, philosophers, politicians, and managers. There will be people to create it, others to observe it, and ones to decide how we will live with it. Number 3, cybersecurity. We've already talked about 2 industries that will make our entire existence more and more dependent on computer systems. With that will come more vulnerability to cyber attacks. Hackers are already able to access bank accounts, steal classified state information, freeze entire companies completely, and get their hands on our personal information. Without proper cybersecurity systems, though, they will soon have potential access to everything connected to the internet, which will be almost everything around us, from our houses to our cars to the medical equipment at hospitals.
So you're
That's why the
absolutely right,
cybersecurity industry is our
cybersecurity
only
is
hope
very, very
for any
critical.
real security in the future, and so it will grow all the more important as more things in our daily lives get connected. This industry is our main safeguard against humanity's future dreams turning into real nightmares. Number 4, genomics. 15 years ago, exactly in 2003, the US founded Human Genome Project, which had begun in 1990, was finally capable of sequencing and mapping the human genetic code. This project cost $3 billion. If things had stayed at that cost, the industry wouldn't carry much hope, since not many people would have been willing to enter into something that expensive. But today, sequencing a genome can cost just around $1,000. Today, the field of genomics is at its highest level of vigor, with players like Bill Gates and Google jumping on its bandwagon with billions of dollars in investments. With the research being more facilitated, genomics is expanded to completely transform our understanding of the human body's components and our ability to cure and nurture it. Our safeguard against cancer, diabetes, and even our hope to quickly adapt our bodies to the sky-high rates of change in our environments in the decades to come all lie in genomics. That's an industry that is expected to become worth more.
So as you can understand, students, there are a huge number of trends and mega trends that are coming up. It is not even what are the few things that have been told in this video. There are so many other areas also coming up, and which we will also discuss in our upcoming sessions. So whatever passion you are having, if you try to follow that, I am absolutely sure you will reach the above the sky also in your career.
More than 20 billion in 2022. That's only 1 year from now. Number 5, drones. Drone technology is now becoming more and more affordable in the same way we just mentioned with genomics. In the near past,
are you a software developer dreaming of working in Silicon Valley for tech giants like?
There were times when,
in case of drones, as you know, there will be huge, enormous scope that is coming. And of course, I'll walk you through one of my sessions about the drones and what are the trends and mega trends that are also happening in the drones. Because what we see, India going to also want to be a major player into that. So multiple companies that are being currently set up And you can see in case of defense, huge deals are also getting done, right? So India has also started exporting some of the drones around the world, and a lot of companies, big enterprises like Adani also is trying to enter into the drone market.
Drones were only novelty items that most of us only associated with war and bomb dropping.
The missile was just a precaution.
Today, drones are...
And you have seen into the Russia-Ukraine war, how the drones are getting, playing a very, very vital role, right? The Turkish drones that were initially used by the Ukraine, now using the Russian drones, and with the Iranian drones coming in, and they are also playing a major activity. You have seen some of the sea drones that basically used by the Ukraine during the Sevastopol that attack into that port, and where they wanted to damage the Russian ships, or during the planes, they were in the hangars, they were able to come and bomb in a long distance. So the Predator drones, which India is trying to acquire from USA, and where the drones are going to be more than 24 hours to 36 hours roaming around, providing vital intelligence information to provide accurate information where in case of defense, where they need to, what is the movement of the troops and where they need to attack. Two drones which can be used in the social area, where if there is some accident happening in the remote places, the drones can be used to drop the medicines or to help those people with the food, or whatever the vital things required during the disaster also, for example, in an earthquake or in a flood, and helping those people, right? So there will be a lot of usage of drones that are doing now, and in the future it will also be done.
Already becoming central to everyday non-military tasks like photography, journalism, and like Amazon's use of them for delivery. The future is all for drones though, and they will become used in everything from agriculture to delivering emergency aid for victims of heart attacks. As they keep on gaining some intelligence of their own, as they already are, it won't be long before law enforcement agencies start using them for patrol and let these flying hawks identify the bad guys. There's literally no limit to the potential drone applications. Number 6, robotics. For several years now, more and more warehouses and manufacturing plants have been including robots in their workforce. Now we have Sophia, the Saudi Arabian humanoid that was the first robot to acquire a national citizenship. And there are robots that are entertaining the seniors in retirement homes in Japan. Very soon, we'll be having robots as our friends, co-workers, and in-house assistants.
Blood on my mat. Handle it.
That's why we now have robot relationship researchers to decide what set of rules will shape our interactions with robots. Some people might be afraid that robots will one day take over our jobs, but if you're a person working in the vast field of robotics, that's not a fear that you should share. Number 7, virtual reality. Being able to simulate certain situations and environments without the costs and risks of the same experience.
So my students, the VR and AR are going to play a tremendous role in the coming days. So in fact, the VR is going to be in futures. We are just seeing what is the tip of the iceberg of VR at this moment. So lot of development happening around the world. Whoever want to build a career onto this, you will find enormous opportunities that are coming up.
Experience in real life opens up a goldmine of potential applications that we could or could not imagine at the moment. The technology of VR is already being used by military forces to train their soldiers, people who are taking driver's license tests, as well as in video games. Companies are also using VR to train their employees, like ExxonMobil, who use the technology to train its engineers and field workers on fuel production processes. And that's only the tip of a massive iceberg. Number 8, nanotechnology. There are countless ways in which we, as a species, have our hopes hanging on advancements in the fields of nanotechnology. Today, there's extensive research in the field, with the applications ranging from medicine to agriculture. The possibilities are being studied regarding how we can use nanotechnology to speed up bone cell growth, the detection of cancer cells, creating self-cleaning surfaces, and implementing healthier and more efficient irrigation methods. All of that potential says that the future of nanotechnology is only pointed in one direction: endless advancements.
Where'd that come from?
It's nanotech. You like it?
Number 9, renewable energy. For several years,
Okay, student, can you tell me what are the renewable energy you are aware of? Hello, students.
Solar energy.
Okay, good. Any other?
Wind energy.
Wind energy.
Excellent. Any other?
Hydroelectricity.
Good. Any other? You have seen hydrogen energy also, right? That the green energy, that's what they call green hydrogen. Huge investment is happening around the world. Billions of dollars are now getting spent on hydrogen energy. Isn't it?
Sir,
Yeah, tell me.
ocean energy is an renewable energy.
Yeah, using the waves of the ocean, electricity is getting generated. Yes. And you can find a lot of that near the seashores, right? Using the waves as an energy, they're trying to generate electricity. Yes.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, Stephen.
That when I saw that Marvel movie, then I also thought about what is nanotech. Can I know?
Mhm. So those are basically the technologies that are coming up, right? Maybe we will spend on the next session on the nanotechnology, more on this. Is it okay?
Okay, sir. Okay.
So anybody want to give an example of nanotechnology?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Tell me what you understand. So nanotechnology is what? It is refers to the engineering devoted to designing, producing or using structure, devices and system by manipulating what? Atoms and molecules of nanoscale. Very, very small scales that are used. And using that, you are able to generate, right? So we will discuss on that point later on the nanotechnology. Any other question? Okay, so let's hear this.
a growing number of people are getting into an ever-inflating state of existential panic because of the climate change that is taking place as a result of our 2 centuries-long use of fossil fuels as our primary source of energy. With more people coming to realize the magnitude of the global warming threat, governments, companies, and private individuals are taking steps towards depending on renewable sources of energy, like solar and wind. The Internet of Things boom is set to further help these plans materialize by facilitating private power supply networks. According to some estimates, renewable energy is expected to fulfill almost 100% of the power supply needed to run the world's economy by 2050.
So, you know, the fossil fuel we are burning so long, that has created greenhouse effect also, because what we are doing is that we are releasing more of CO, carbon dioxide, isn't it? And you know that the fossil fuel also has got a life, because slowly the reserve around the world is getting empty, isn't it? So more and more renewable energy we need to use. And you have seen the price of crude prices as going up very, very high, which is affecting the global recession also. And already the prices around the world has gone up. So renewable energy is one of the areas where people are investing and wanted to use that, because the continuity of that energy will always be there. I think
the quantum computer, they're calling it.
One minute, I think, let me just, talking to you, let me just do one thing.
Number 3, cybersecurity. We've all dreams turning into real nightmares. Highest level of vigor with players like Bill Gates and 22. That's only 1 year from now. Number 6, robotics.
We are talking about VR.
Soldiers, people who are taking drive.
And then we are
Advancements in the fields of nanotechnology.
We have already gone through.
Inflating state of existential panic because of the climate change that is taking place as a result of our 2 centuries long use of fossil fuels as our primary source of energy. With more people coming to realize the magnitude of the global warming threat, governments, companies, and private individuals are taking steps towards depending on renewable sources of energy, like solar and wind. The Internet of Things boom is set to further help these plans materialize by facilitating private power supply networks. According to some estimates, renewable energy is expected to fulfill almost 100% of the power supply needed to run the world's economy by 2050. Number 10, sharing economy. We're moving towards a world where we will barely own stuff anymore. We're coming to realize that it's often cheaper and more efficient to rent whatever we can give up on owning.
We're here to serve you with a court-ordered eviction.
Okay. We've been increasingly doing it with car rides as...
So I was giving an example of quick ride, right? Also before we used to have Ola and Uber, the share rides, which is the cost would have been much lower.
More people are using sharing services like Uber, and the same with real estate renting services like Airbnb. Today, more services are joining that new sharing model, with apps being built on rental services for household equipment, office spaces, and even leisure boats. Thanks to smartphones, more people are connected and thus gaining access to these services on both the provider and consumer sides. Number 11, e-learning. As we shift towards a future more dependent on innovation than on formal college certificates, and where the value of your knowledge is based on what you can create and not what degrees you hold, and finally, facilitated by all of the technologies we just mentioned, e-learning is definitely the future of education. With more people on the internet than ever before, and with VR technology and artificial intelligence applications expanding into our daily lives, creating more engaging, customizable, and effective learning experiences will make e-learning the primary means of education in the not very far future. Number 12, big data. You probably noticed that almost every industry we mentioned.
So can you give me an example of big data that you are aware of and how that can be benefiting you before we give into this trend that is coming up? Anybody interested in big data? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, tell me.
Yeah, I'm also taken big data.
Very good. So big data have got enormous scope. So give me one example where you see a lot of scope is there.
Yeah, there is big data using in transportation, then as well as government using big data like that, healthcare, cybersecurity.
Yes, and also during the healthcare, for example, the big data can be a enormous amount of scope, right?
Yes, sir.
So that is also a mega trend that are coming and huge opportunity in big data.
Is dependent on data in one way or another. Data is what artificial intelligence systems learn from, and increasing the efficiency of our economic decisions will be, in the first place, a matter of good data. Whoever is able to acquire data and has the proper methods for analyzing it will be a central player in the future economy. Data scientists are right now becoming essential players in every arena, from marketing to healthcare to politics. Number 13, 3D printing.
In fact, in big data, the companies which has got enormous of data are going to be the gold mine of future, because a lot of analytics will be used on that, and to get basically dissect those data into the huge potential business that can be done. For example, if you want to go to a supermarket, depending upon the pattern of your what are the purchases you have done, what are the investment you have done in the locality, how many people are buying what kind of a goods, or what are the trends and mega trends that is happening around the world. The discounts for each of those products can be provided. Depending on that, the marketing or the strategies can be done. Just to give you a few examples.
3D printing technologies now include all kinds of material, enabling individuals to home manufacture their own spare parts and stationary items, and at the same time, giving companies new alternatives for construction and car manufacturing. This technology is giving us bright visions of a future where manufacturing is democratized. Will it be the end of mass production? Possibly, but that's a bit far-fetched and extra optimistic. What we know is that 3D printing will transform our manufacturing.
So huge potential of 3D printing that is coming in the manufacturing, right? So there are lot of scope that are getting, and some of the manufacturers around the world, especially in automobile industry, are taking the benefit of the 3D printing technology.
Capabilities and costs, and will make us as individuals able to create our own products in our very own homes. It will also cut a large portion of companies' construction and manufacturing costs. All we can be sure of is that 3D printing is the tool of our new industrial era. Number 14, blockchain technology. With the Bitcoin frenzy that has taken over the world's financial markets in the past couple of years, we came to frequently hear the term blockchain. It's the decentralized.
You can also prevent the identity theft. You can protect your data much better. Some of you are asking on the cybersecurity and this thing, because the technology is built in such a way, it's very difficult to decode the blockchain technology, right? So this is going to see a enormous potential in the coming days.
Public ledger mechanism at the heart of cryptocurrencies, but cryptocurrencies are far from its only application. If there is one technology that has the potential to create the decentralized, comprehensive ecosystem that will facilitate all of these other industries we mentioned in a more secure and efficient way, it is definitely blockchain. Based on this technology, there are companies being launched that want to put our finances, research, identity management, and even voting processes on the blockchain. It's basically the new face of the internet, and innovations in this technology will become among the most valuable contributions anyone can make to the future economy. Let us know in the comments.
Right? So as you can see, there are huge potential about the trends and megatrends. So I will just take 1 minute break and I will just again start. Yeah, students. So any questions? So what you can see from the trends and mega trends are some of the few areas, and you can see there is so much enormous potential that is around you, right? So any question from anybody, or any other trends you are seeing, any other area where till now we have learned about AI and IoT, right? Any other trends you are seeing? Hello, student. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So any other that comes in your mind? As I told you, this is a few of those, right? So any other that comes to your mind that will be in future?
So, is the blockchain technology includes the mining like that?
Data mining is part of the blockchain, but of course that itself is another technology.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So data mining and data analytics, those are another technology that has been used for analytics, right? So any other student want to mention anything? Any other points that comes to your mind? Okay. What I will do is that we will go to some new areas to learn today. But before that, students, tomorrow I want to interact with you and have how is basically some of you prepare 4-5 slides. I told you to prepare a kind of your presentation on. One is the chatbot and another is how in agriculture we can get benefit using the IoT, right? So let me show you that what I was looking at from you. So you just prepare, it's like an interactive session. Don't worry, I'm not going to basically give you marks or this thing. Just wanted to interact and try to understand about you. Let's do it like this, since I'm seeing not many students coming. So individually you prepare and present it to me. Don't worry on this. Whatever that comes to your mind, you can just make your presentation so that it will help you to get into the confidence of presenting also, and we will work together, right? And you can hear from your fellow colleagues or fellow students how they're presenting, and that will also be a good learning, and we will discuss when you're presenting. Is it okay? So let me share my screen again, and please let me know once you're able to see my screen. So tomorrow, what I want at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, you prepare and come. So either of this, and individually you present. Just a few slides, whatever you able to do. And we want to just hear from you, your thought process. That is, either you can have a chatbot or a high-level concept that for agriculture, where you need to put what kind of fertilizers, pesticides that will be required for an agricultural product to be harvested based on the soil and monsoon prediction. You have seen for that using the IoT. I've given you a case study. I've shown you in Italy how it is done in Famosa. In fact, one of the companies I was doing consulting, they use drones to basically provide the fertilizers on the soil, and so that no human required. And they also try to gather the information of the soil content using the IoT technology. Next is that they have used sensors to check how much of rainfall, what is the groundwater, how much of sprinklers that need to be used. Also, they've used the weather forecasting technology. Based on that, they automatically are using the AI want to predict how much of water that need to be a sprinkler need to be used on those grounds. So whatever that comes to your mind, you just prepare a few slides, and I want individually to you to present tomorrow, so that I just wanted to see your creativity and this thing, and we will work together. So don't worry, whatever that comes to your mind, you present, and we will all try to work together. Okay.
Excuse me, sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, tell me.
Sir, is it an individual presentation or is this a group presentation?
Yeah, make it individual, because I've not got any group. If I had got a group, then I would have done. I want individually to do it.
Okay, sir.
Okay, let's
Thank you.
Individually, so that let's everybody come and do the see the communication and this thing, how you're presenting. So that will really help all of you. What I want to do when you go to the corporate, it is basically individually you need to communicate, right? So how you need to communicate, how the presentation is to be done. So this will also, I will also guide you so that in your future, it really helps you. So don't worry on this and we will work together. Okay.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, tell me.
So actually, we have already submitted our names to our respective teachers for our project for this assignment.
Okay, so you have, if you have already done, please ask Hari Lakshmi ma'am or Sweta ma'am to forward that list to me. Then we will go by the teams. If the teams is not there, then individual. So please circulate and give it to me by today. Please ask them so that I actually asked them to provide the Wednesdays. I didn't receive. That's why I thought individually. But if you have already have the teams with the team members, please ask your teacher to forward it to me.
Excuse me, sir. Nisha ma'am, are you there? Nisha ma'am?
And
because, excuse me, sir, they have given some groups for other assignment. If the same is holds good, I will forward the group's name, sir. I'll just talk to coordinator from the college. Hello.
Yes,
sir?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Same groups are there for this also. Then I'll forward it today on this. I'll just talk to them.
Sure, ma'am. And just check if somebody has not been participating in any groups, then
Yes.
individually you can also present.
Okay.
So, student, if you're not still able to form the team, don't worry, you can individually also present. But I need the full list.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Great. Now let's move on to our next topic. It's very, very interesting topic. Now that is cloud computing. What is cloud computing, students? So cloud computing is an on-demand availability of computer system resources, especially data storage, right, and computing power without the direct active management by the user. So can you tell me how many types of we have got in case of the cloud as an infrastructure or as a service? Hello, students. What is, so, okay. So cloud computing relies on sharing the resources to achieve coherence and typical using the pay-to-go or pay-to-use usage model, which can help in reducing the capital expenses, but may also lead to unexpected operating expenses for unaware users. You need to be aware of this. And what are the various things we have got? We have got SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS. Your SaaS is basically software as a service, PaaS is platform as a service, and IaaS is the infrastructure as a service. Okay, and your deployment model can be either be public cloud, that is multi-tenants, or it can be private clouds where only for one user you're doing and hosting it for one user, one company, or it can be a hybrid model where some of the applications are hosted in a public cloud where you can use basically at low cost, because public cloud will be at low cost, running it, and you can have some of the application can be in private cloud. So that is called hybrid model. Right? Any question? So before that, or otherwise I'll continue. So cloud is basically used for huge space online, your availability, you're going to have a scalability of that. You have got multiple collection of servers and orchestration, because orchestration of data that you can do. And that is one of the reason why the cloud generally people are using on cloud, right? So regarding the SaaS, as I told you, it is the software as a service. And some of the benefit of SaaS is that it's on-demand service, independent platform, no need to install in a PC. And next is resource managed by vendor, right? And who are the people using it? Yes, student. Any answers? It is you all. We all are using it. Can you give me an example? I hope all of you are using WhatsApp, you're using Gmail, right? What you are doing in Gmail? You just, or any mail you're operating, right? What you do, you type your mail and then click over a button, you send it to the other party. You don't have to worry who is doing the working on the infrastructure, what are the basically data where it is stored, isn't it? All you're doing is taking the service of that, and that is an example of a SaaS, right? So for example, if we are Oracle ERP or SAP ERP, if it is on cloud, we are using it. As a user, we are using it, and the people are, for example, it can be hosted and it can be provided as a SaaS, as a service. And pay by use, it can be done, or in case of Gmail, it is free. We can use it. Of course, they earn the money in a different way, but some of the services they can charge to the end customers. So student, do you know what are the pros and cons of SaaS? Okay, let me tell you some of the pros. Pros are, it is universally accessible from any platform, right? Like for Gmail, you can access from any platform. Whether you can access from your mobile, you can use your iPad or your desktop or your laptop. Excellent for collaborative working. Of course, all of you are doing that. I know all of you are using your Gmail or basically WhatsApp or Instagram, right? Or Snapchat. All of you are using, and that is basically the collaborative way you are working. And that is kind of a SaaS platform. Vendor provides software tools for, it can be multiple tenants as a SaaS if it is a public cloud, that these are all public. And if it is for especially hosted for one customer, it can be a private cloud when we call it a single tenant. So what is happening? The software is made available to you, and based on that, you are start working. Now, what are the cons? Cons is the portability, right? The browser issue, because you have to use whatever the for example, Gmail has provided or WhatsApp has provided. You cannot create your own browser or this thing, and also whatever the system has provided, you have to use that only. And compliance restriction, for example, you know there are some compliances are there, and you have to follow as per the compliance of that product. You cannot change the compliance. Next is the internet dictates over the performance. Now, for example, if you take some of the, if you are playing games, some of you are playing interactive games, it takes a lot of your internet. If the internet is not good, then you will have a lot of issues and a lot of problems. Next is that if you use some of like Facebook, of course, it can open from anywhere, where the internet with low connectivity also it able to open. So it depends upon the kind of application you're using and how much it consumes the internet, right? So based on that, also these are the cons. Now, if I go to the PaaS, this is platform as a service. Now, some of the benefit of platform is that what it does. Tell me, what is platform as a service? So what it does is the service provider provides the complete platform to use. That means the provider take care of your underlying part of your infrastructure of the platform, but not to the entire extent, but at least more than what is in the SaaS. And your servers are taken care by the platform provider. And you have been given predefined tools that you can operate, and you can create your own applications. For example, Google App or Google Play Store, right? Where you can place your own app and you have the freedom of creating your own application. But the basic infrastructure, they are provided by the platform operators or the virtual machines, right? Using that, you can create your own app or you can upload your own app. So you are not bothered about, you have to only be bothered about your data and your application. Other thing will be managed by the platform provider. So that is basically the PaaS, isn't it? So what are the things that it does is programming language, the OS plus server plus database that you need to do. It provides an encapsulation, build and compile and run programs, user manages the data and application resources. And who uses it? Yes, student, who uses it? This is generally used by the developers, isn't it? Hello, student. Are you able to? Any question from your side? Can you give some pros and cons? Hello. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
So what are the pros and cons for PaaS? So the pros are it is scalable and cost effective, right? Faster market for developers, easy deployment of web applications, and it can provide you both private and public. Public is where multi-tenant is there, and if you want to have own, that is private, your own private cloud, you can also do it. Can you tell me about the cons? So you need to work only on the language that is provided by the platform operators. So also the development is restricted because based on the platform that is been provided, you need to manage, because the middleware and the infrastructure is provided by the platform is provided by the platform operator. There can be issues of migration, and also the vendor can lock in because vendor monitors this. So whatever the application you are doing, so you can only have, but you have to follow the restrictions of the PaaS operator, right? So you have to follow that. So these are some of the pros and cons of PaaS. Now, if I go to the IaaS, can you give me what is IaaS? Infrastructure as a service. What it does? It provides computer architecture infrastructure, right? So the data storage and virtualization and servers and networking is your responsibility. The vendor manages all the resources, right? And you can basically create your own applications. You can manage your own data, the middleware, you can do it. So what are the pros? Pros is that the IaaS, the cloud, the operator provides you the cloud, provides you the infrastructure, enhanced scalability. You can increase the scalability. Dynamic workloads are supported. And what are the cons? Cons are the security issues and the service delays and network delays. So you need to take care of the security of whenever the infrastructure as a service is there, and proper cyber security need to be done. And regarding the deployment, I have already told you, this can be either by public or private or hybrid model. Any question? So some of you were asking and telling me about the cloud security and privacy concerns. As you can see, this is one need to take care, because whenever you go into cloud, now if somebody has worked on the Europe, there is basically GDPR. That means some of the private data cannot be moved out of Europe. So what happens when you're working in IT companies, you need to mask the data. For example, if it is a healthcare company in UK, you need to keep the whole data within UK. If you take it for India as an example, you need to have your servers based out of India. You cannot use the data, Indian companies' data outside India. So you need the servers to be here in India. If you have a cloud operator also, they need to have the servers. So whenever you go to IT companies, you will find when you start working, if there is a confidential data, then you cannot move those data. Then you have to have the people working on that. For example, if it is an Airbus defense, right? Now, if those company or the nuclear sectors, they do not want the data to be moved out of the country. So you have to have the people on site, and they're going to do a proper security check, and only then they will allow you to work on those data. Sometimes during the testing, for example, you want to do the testing of some of the application, then there are a lot of restrictions. You have to sign the NOC. Then also the data, actual data will not be moved out. You will have masking of those data. So there are multiple technology using that masking that will be followed. And only after that, the data will be sent to you. And then based on that, you can do the testing, right? So there are a lot of security that need to be taken care of. So student, let me know if you have got any question. So that is why you will see that the blockchain is going to come into a big opportunities there. Data is also encrypted when it is sent, and there are multiple protocols, secure protocols need to be followed, right? So whether it is RFC connector or if it is any other, how the connecting will need to be done, or the middleware. So there are multiple layers of security checks is there. A lot of cyber security need to be has to follow, and based on that, once they are secured data that need to pass from one system to another. And nowadays, of course, the cloud companies provide a lot of layers of security to enable absolutely secure data flow. If you have been buying any using a debit card or credit card, you will see those information are also encrypted, and only maybe the few digits are basically passed on. The whole credit card information is absolutely basically masked, so that those information does not flow in. Otherwise, if those information there in the database, somebody can misuse it. And in the past, we have also found a lot of case of misappropriation of fund has happened using the hacking those information or unlawfully getting those information. Can you give me an example of kind of an identity theft or recording or some kind of theft that you are aware of? Hello, students. Hello. Students, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now you are seeing that cloud, you have learned about the multiple platforms, how it can be done, right? So you have also learned what are the how the deployment strategy also. So I just wanted to understand from you any of the you are aware of any cloud security breaches that you are aware of currently or recently you have heard of. See, when you are also posting in the social media, if as you have aware that some of the you have seen Facebook, right? A lot of data has been hacked and also been outsider has got that information. You have seen in case of Ola, in fact, some of the information has been hacked and has been got into the hackers, right? So if they breach those kind of cyber security and get into those personal data, the identity theft can happen. You have seen some of the people's pictures which they were private. There have been hackers has gone there and published those pictures publicly. So those are basically the issues one can face into the security breach or the so that if there is no proper security or the cyber security is there, that the personal data what you are keeping on the cloud is basically not safe, isn't it? Hello, students. Tell me, before we go on to the machine learning. Okay, maybe machine learning, I will take into the next session. I will give you another example where using the AI and this thing, you can, for example, if you have the convex, right? Now you have using the kind of a camera, if they can using the facial recognition. Now, I was giving an example in the airport or into the anybody want to say anything? Hello? A question from your side? Hello, student, any question from your side? Now, for example, if there is kind of terrorist we know or miscreants, right? We have the picture or the facial recognition. Now, if we find in the airport or in the buses or anywhere, using the facial recognition, now we can find it out their face, immediately action can be taken. Similarly, if you have got the fingerprints, right, in case of airport or in the any public places, if you have got the devices, IoT devices, right, if we can capture that, automatically we can know the area or the place where these miscreants or the terrorists are there, and automatically some action can be taken, and based on this some future disaster can be averted, right? So there are a lot of usage of basically using the AI and IoT that we can do, of course coupled with the machine learning. So that is where the machine learning also really helps, where using those technologies we can, from the society, we can eliminate a lot of bad effects that can come, right? So this is some of the examples that you should be aware of, and as a society we can of course prevent those kind of unwanted situations. You have seen a lot of blasting of bombs and a lot of public firing is happening. So those things also we can eliminate. Similarly, using the facial recognition, now there is a study going on. There are also psychological impact one can study, right? Or basically having those kind of movements and this thing, we can find it out whether that person has going through some depression or some problems is happening, and properly if it can, person can be educated or can be a psychological test can be done to those people, or basically we have the psychologist who can help them to help so that they don't deteriorate and do some unlawful things. You have seen in the universities in USA, there are a lot of firing by the students to the fellow other students, or miscreants go inside the campus and firing, right? So those are basically nothing but the people who have got psychological problem or under depression has gone and done that. Now those things also can be highly prevented if we can use our technology like the facial recognition and the technology based on the previous learning, what kind of trains those people goes through, right? If those can be also be taken into account, and then we can prevent based on their expressions, based on the movements, based on the gestures, right? We can do a predictive analysis of those people, and if they're properly identified and using the psychologists, if they can be properly be treated, then we can basically help of those unwanted situations. So you can see there are a lot of things, areas that can happen. Maybe some of you want to go to foreign countries, and where if you see those kind of happening from your friends or this thing, they have gone into huge problems, right? If like people come in USA, for example, arms is absolutely available. You don't require a license to buy arms there. Now, if somebody come into the college and started basically firing those this thing, the students who are there or the teachers are there, their life is at danger, right? So these all the things can be prevented by using the technology, isn't it, student? Hello, students.
Yes, sir.
Right, so your life will be much safer, or the people, the students, or the other your fellow students life will be also be safer, because you have come to those colleges to learn, right? You wanted to basically enjoy, whereas if those situation happens, there is always an anxiety from your side, your parents. So those can be unwanted things can also be eliminated, correct? Yes, similarly, sir. You can use the drones. Using the drones, you can basically check and monitor, right, what is happening around. For example, in some of the areas where you need to infiltration happens or the terrorists coming in, it's humanly not possible to bother each and every checkpoint into the borders, right? You can have those drones and you can check, and they can work day and night, and so that the soldiers or the people monitoring from far off distance, they can check that everything is working fine. They don't have to go there. Nowadays, the drones also is basically have been modified to carry some arms and this thing. If they see unnecessary movements happening, the soldiers don't have to go there. From basically the monitoring center, they can fire bullets so that unwanted situation do not happen. So you can see this kind of technology, with the technology, you are able to safeguard yourself. So always the technology, if it is used for the betterment of the human society, right, it provides good things. Similarly, if you see the technology that has been used into the healthcare, right? So if the technology has been to check whether anybody has got, for example, based on the previous record, maybe heart or diabetic, they can be provided proper medical care, and at the minimum time, they can be provided the proper medicine so that they can save their lives. Isn't it? Hello, student.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So next session will be very, very interesting. We will go into the machine learning, right? So machine learning, deep learning, we will go into that sessions. So now I leave it to you. So any question you are having, so this is tomorrow's discussion. Let me just show you. So any question before we end today's call? Do you have any question on this? So I hope all of you have decided which is the topic you want to do. Any question? Students?
No, sir.
Very good. So I wish all the best to all of you, right? And tomorrow at 10 a.m. we will meet and we will go through your presentation. So don't worry, whatever you have prepared, absolutely don't worry. We will work on that, and kindly provide your name and your group name through your teacher to me. And Harilakshmi ma'am and Sweta ma'am, kindly collect those names, the team's names, and also the name of the students, so that I can prepare and I can just call out the team or the student name so that they can come and present. So kindly forward that to me by today.
Okay, sir.
Okay, students?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
All the best for tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Meet tomorrow. Okay, at 10 a.m.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, students.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.